And I think as much as there are detractors out there, or people that try, right? I mean, it's pretty, whatever they're doing is pretty feeble in my mind. I mean, it's like cap gun fire,
Yes.
if that.
It's very feeble.
So many of us, men and women, old and young, hear something and feel something in your message. Like, yeah, like it seems kind of crazy. Gosh, like, doesn't he ever just relax? What about his sleep? Look at his feet. He's gonna injure himself. Listen, I'll be very direct. I got friends who are in the teams who just go, yeah, what's he gonna do when he can't run? And I know the answer is keep running.
That's right.
Right. But it's more comfortable for people, even high achievers.
Especially high achievers.
To believe that if you took one thing away, that it would all go away. It's absolutely clear that's not the case with you. I'm 100% convinced. I just know that because what we're talking about is this.
You know how many times I haven't been able to run? 2 heart surgeries, multiple knee surgeries, and after every knee surgery, they say you're not going to run again. And I'm fine with that. There's no running up here, bro. None. This was what it was all about. That's what they lost. What if you can't run? Give a fuck. It was never about running. Why do you think I run? It's the worst thing. I hate doing it more than anything. Hence the willpower.
Right. Your anterior mid-cingulate cortex would start to regress if you loved running.
Think about it. Every day I wake up, I don't just run a mile, 2 miles. It's the one thing I hate the most to do, and I do it like I love it. 250, 60, 70, 300-mile runs at one time, no sleep. And every step, when I get to think about this, I get to the fucking start line, cussing at Jennifer. Why the fuck am I here? I hate this shit. After 70-some hours of running, every fucking question I ever had is answered. Every question I had is answered. I cap success. People go, what do you mean you cap success? For me to be who I am, so when I go smoke jump, I'm smoke jump 3 to 4 months out of the year, sometimes 5.
Could you, just for those that aren't educated about, just like give us a brief description of what smoke jumping entails?
So basically, you jump into fires, not into them, but you jump by fires that people can't get to.
So out of planes and helicopters.
Right, out of planes,
fast
parachute.
Lines.
It's all parachuting. So you parachute out of airplanes and then you fight the fire. You and sometimes 4 other guys or maybe 8 other guys and gals, and you're putting this fire out. So I lose millions of dollars every summer to do this. It blows people's minds. Why the hell are you doing this?
And you're breathing soot.
I'm breathing soot, knees are jacked up, hitting the ground, hurting, whatever. Talking to normal people, they'll never get it, so I don't even explain it to them. But this is why I call cap success. I'm talking financial success. For me to continue having that willpower, the second I just become a speaking monkey and travel around and speaking gigs 12 months out of the year, put camps on, do this, put on lectures, get supplement lines and do this and write more books and shit, I've ruined the exact thing I worked on my entire life. And while I didn't know it until today, but something always told me, this is a very, very, very perishable skill, this willpower that you have, because I do have a willpower that I have never seen in anybody in my life. It is a haunting force that just keeps me going. And I know that that is my strength. If you have that, so that's worth every dime I've ever made in my life, is the fact that I can look a man in the eye finally and have a real conversation without going like this because I'm lying or I'm a piece of shit or I know, you know how a person, and so many people do this shit, they're talking to you on who they want to be. They're lying to you. And they walk away. I've done it so many times. You walk away like, God, man, why can't I just tell him the truth? Why the hell can I just tell him the truth? You know how good it feels for me now to look at you in your eye and every man I see. Because women won't get this. Women will not get this. Man to man, that man shit. When you look another man in the eye and you know that everything you're fucking saying is real and it comes from a real working place, something that you earned, it's the best feeling in the world.
You can say that actually happened.
Yes.
Like I know with certainty what I'm saying actually happened.
Actually happened. Who I am and who I say I am, I am. No more lies. No more skirting the truth. No more bullshit. And that is worth every dime I've ever made in my life. And I swear to God on that. Every dime I've ever made in my life, building who I built, so I cap success because I know that if I ever go 12 months out of the year and don't put several, every day I'm going at it, but several months out of the year, I go right back to ground zero, which means I'm just fucking David Goggins. No Goggins, no carry boats, fucking logs bullshit. It's just pick up that fucking Pulaski and dig. Hey, get that fucking pump, walk down a mile, put it in the fucking water, mosquitoes beating. You're just David Goggins. You're nobody. Because that's where my growth is. That's where my willpower comes from. And that's where it stays. That's why when I talk to you now, and can't I talk like this, dude? People don't talk with this kind of passion because it ain't there. It ain't there. They're regurgitating some shit from 30 fucking years ago. I'm regurgitating shit from an hour ago. Hour ago. Come on, man. It's just be real. And I can't be on these podcasts. I can't talk to anybody without being real. I'll go away. I'll just go away. Because I can't give you what I want to give you.
You said perishable skill. I think that's another set of words I want to highlight because skill implies behavior. And when we were just talking a second ago about the deep, true bedrock sense of confidence that comes from looking someone in the eye and telling somebody something that you absolutely know it's true because it happened. You're talking about actions. You're not talking about perceptions. You're not talking about what you believe happened. You know it happened. And there's something really concrete about actions. I mean, that's what's so interesting is we're talking about the mind, but actions are the manifestation of the mind. And the stuff that just stays in here, people die with that. It doesn't go anywhere. I long ago, somebody said, I forget what the context was. It was a neuroscientist. He said, most emotions, like they're just emotions. They're just in there. Like you don't have to do anything with them. Mm-hmm. And I think certain emotions you want to do something with. Right. But I think people forget this. They feel miserable, like they're going to dissolve into a puddle of their own tears. No one ever died from an emotion. Right. But they feel like they overwhelm us as if it's a tidal wave. It's going to pull us under and drown us. It's so interesting to me because I think listen, you have a gravitational pull. People can feel the energy. I think, yes, you're either completely, badly, or partially understood. There's only one guy on the planet that truly understands you. I think there's one woman, Jennifer, who probably understands you as much as anyone's going to. And then the rest of us are kind of grasping, trying to figure it out. Right. But you're saying go inward. Mm-hmm. So first go inward, mm-hmm. and then it's actions. Inward and actions. Now, the inward piece is something I'd like to just spend a little bit of time on mm-hmm. because there are a couple characters from history, people that were in concentration camps. Nelson Mandela. I mean, I'm not sure he had Instagram in there. I'm pretty sure he didn't. Right. And I don't think there was anyone coaching him on like, hey, you're going to get out someday and actually you're going to lead an entire country. I'm pretty sure that's not how it worked. Mm-hmm. He had to find it here. Mm-hmm. He had to find it between his ears. Right. And there are other examples, but that's an important one. So the process of going inward, does it for you, and here I will ask for suggestions, because I think there are those of us who want to build this skill. Right. Wall yourself off, phone mm-hmm. off for big portions of the day, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Texting off, the requests, the this, the that. Anyone that knows you knows that we've communicated a few texts, but most of it comes through a filter. She's great. She knows you, and she knows how to protect your time. And that hurts people's feelings. People get mad about that. Hey, God bless you, Jennifer, Cutting oneself off. When you're in there, you say it's just you. And the voices that come up are not pleasant. And then at some point, it converts to action. Okay, what is the process of picking the action? That's the piece that I feel like there's like a bridge to build here, if you would.
So the action be like what's next?
Yeah. So when you go to sleep at night, when that happens, you know what you're going to do the next day? It's pre-planned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's always the same thing.
You're not building it on the fly.
No, nothing's
Okay.
on the fly. Nothing. So how it works internally for me is I put it exactly how it is. I'm an artist. And every day I'm painting Mona Lisa. Every day. But it's a different one. It's not the same painting. So every day I wake up, even though they're the same thing, it takes a different way to get there. So every day in my mind, I'm going through my mind, I'm just like, and a good painter will not just paint. He needs to create. And you can't create with phones and everything going around you. So you got to block yourself off. You only do 2 podcasts in a year. You block yourself off and you're painting this thing inside, and you're going through all these different colors of paint and everything else. And you can only figure out the right painting if you spend the correct amount of time in your brain. So every single day, I'm literally going through my mind and I'm painting. I'm creating this masterpiece. And the masterpiece is always myself. But to do that, you cannot have any distractions. Because if you're talking to an artist and he's trying to think about the next painting, he can't. It's impossible to listen to you and listen to what your mind and body are telling you we must do. People don't do enough of. They don't do any of it. They don't have passion. They lack passion, drive, determination because you haven't spent time with yourself. Your mind will tell you what is next. But you haven't spent the time to go, all right, let me just figure this out. You're looking for, let me Google this and let me Google that and you're not going to find it there because there's billions of people in this world and they're all supposed to be individuals. But we have a pack mentality. That's why you're so fucking lost. Why am I so unique? I'm being exactly what the fuck I was supposed to be. I ain't follow shit. And when I did follow shit, I was like everybody else. The second I said, okay, man, hang on, dude. You don't like this, you don't like this, you don't like this. Who are you, David Goggins? Who are you supposed to be? Miraculously, all these things just, I couldn't even, the list of shit I had to do just wham. It's like, fuck, okay. Wow. Once you sit down with yourself and say, okay, I don't want to be like Michael Jordan or Jim Brown. They both were on my birthday. So I looked at their birthdays like, oh, maybe I can be one of these. I can't. I'm going to be David fucking Goggins. And that looks like this. It just came, everything flooded. So every single day of my life, there's a different thing that comes up that I have to do. But no one knows what to do because everybody else is following steps. Like the Republican and Democratic parties. I'm not political.
Neither am I.
At all, for this reason. Republicans are going to vote Republican. Democrats are going to vote Democrat. You're not even a human fucking being, bro. No way all you fuckers agree with all the same fucking shit. And I know I don't. So once you figure out yourself and who you are, all the answers come. So every night, a different painting is being painted. And it's a beautiful painting for myself. I'm like, okay, that's it. It may look the same to most motherfuckers, but the end result is very fucking different. That's why my laundry, if you look at what I've done in 49 years, it's more than most people ever do in their life because they were a race car driver. And that's what they did. They drove a fucking car. It's great. I was all kind of shit because that's exactly what the painting was saying to do. It's what the mind was saying to do. When I'm saying just drive a car, so then that race car driver didn't know what the fuck to do. He retires from being a race car driver and they're lost. People go, how are you still, I don't get it. Dude, you're never going to fill your list, but you never found your list because it never was presented in front of you because your head was cluttered with shit. because you never just stopped for lots of minutes, lots of years, and just said, all right, it's me and you. Let it go. And it just, bam, it's right there. It's right there.
I'm not a psychologist, as I mentioned before, but I'm going to venture a hypothesis here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you've mastered the process of internal dialogue. But when I say dialogue, I think most people think, oh, the inner voice, the chatter. But that's just one half of a dialogue. A dialogue is a two-way street. So I completely agree, because I know from experience that when we go inward, oftentimes we hear things, if we're really honest with ourselves, it's like, oh, no, I don't want to think about that or that. No. And then we start looking outward, or we start trying to shift our attention or distract. And there are a million reasons that are handed to us, excuses and seemingly good justifications to be able to do that. But dialogue is a two-way street. And it hit me while you were just saying what you were saying. I was paying very close attention, and I realized David Goggins is talking about the voice that comes up, including the terrible stuff that no one wants to hear about themselves from themselves. But then he's also got the dialogue down where he knows the counter voice.
That's right.
He goes, yeah, you're right. And so I'm going to do this. Or maybe, no, remember this. You're in a dialogue, a two-way dialogue in there, not a one-way chatter dialogue. There are books written by famous psychologists about chatter, trying to shift your internal narrative. You're like, bring the internal narrative. That's what going inward is about. But it's not one voice. Again, there's a hypothesis. I'm not claiming to be all-knowing. Lord knows I'm not all-knowing, okay? But you've mastered the dialogue, and if there are three voices, strong, medium, and weak in there, you're like, let's all come to the table.
Right.
So you've got a symphony of voices in there that are all you, that you know to be you.
Right.
And you know how to have those conversations. You're not afraid to be in those conversations. And then you know what the outcome of that committee decision is, and you put it into real world action. And the world only sees the action.
That's it.
And only you can know your internal dialogue. Mm-hmm. And only I can know my internal dialogue. And the only way to, quote unquote, know it is to spend a hell of a lot of time there.
That's right.
Okay.
A lifetime.
Got it.
A lifetime. Like, think about it. For me to be sitting here in front of you, you're not going to call 300-pound Ecolab guy to come sit here. You might. I don't know. Maybe.
Probably not.
Probably not. Think about this. What we teach people is kindness to yourself. Do you think if I taught myself kindness, and I agree with it, guys, so many people take me out of context, it's ridiculous. Take it however the fuck you want to take it. When I was 300 pounds, where do you think that conversation would have got me if I spoke kindness to myself? I'll tell you where it gets me. Right back to 7-Eleven, another box of mini chocolate donuts and a chocolate milkshake. That's the one voice. That's the one voice that most of us have that you're talking about. If you don't have a conversation in there, the other voice that you create that says, okay, how does this look? It looks very ugly. That kind conversation for me went away a long time ago, which is why the dialogue is now, which you see a lot of action, because most people have inaction because there's one person talking. And that one person is always leading you down the same path, the path that makes you feel very comfortable and happy with yourself. The second you create the other voice, there's conflict. There's battles, there's wars, there's defeat. One thing I learned, I taught myself this, and people go, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm gonna try to break it down real quick. I didn't teach myself victory first. I taught myself failure. I taught myself how to fail. And people go, that's so depressing. Is it? When you're 300 pounds and you can't read and write and you're fucked up, you know how many times you're gonna fucking fail on that process? So if you don't know how to fail, there is no victory. I never talked about winning because I knew the path to winning was gonna be years of failing first. So I taught myself how to fail properly. No one teaches you how to fucking fail. But if you're going out for insurmountable fucking odds that make absolutely no fucking sense, a black kid that can't swim, 300 pounds, gonna be a Navy SEAL. Okay. You better teach yourself how to fail first. Because if you sit in failure for too long, you will never come out of it. So the first part of my success was learning how to fail properly. And then eventually, I started getting a few victories. But that's what people don't get. When you have buried yourself in such a deep fucking hole, you better first talk about the failures you're going to have first. And that's when that other voice comes up. It tells you we got to do something, but it also tells you, boy, I'm not going to lie to you, Goggins. You're in for a fucking climb, bro. You're going to get your ass handed to you, made fun of, the outside noise, the inside noise. Both voices are going to be fucking telling you to go fuck yourself. You are in for hell, bro. I am. So I better learn to fail.
So this is what you mean when you say that whatever anyone says, it's insignificant.
Insignificant as fuck.
Right. It's the cap gun fire because
Yes.
it's just like it, because the voice in your own head is far worse. And I should say, sorry, one of the voices
Yes.
in your head.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm being very like detailed, almost surgical about that because I think this thing about inner dialogue we think is one voice.
Yes.
But you're making it clear it's many voices.
It is. And the thing about it is you have to be really, and sometimes all the voices are telling you the wrong shit, man. But through years, not a podcast or listening to a book or reading a book, years of sacrifice, of suffering, of diligent, pinpoint fucking work on what you want to do for yourself. Not like, oh, let me just do a bunch of shit. I want to be in every task possible. No. Pinpoint what I want to do with my life. What happens is you have all these voices that are telling you you're fucked up and this is going to be hard. But for some reason, you put so much practice into you that you can ignore every one of them that are telling you you're not going to fucking make it and still be able to fucking make it. Because you have put the practice in that you know this is the process. It's such a daunting task that all the voices are saying no. But you still had the conviction that I know I can do this. And that's what it took for me to get here. 20, 30 years ago, I had this 35 or whatever it was, 30 to 25 years ago, pipe dream. And ever since then, every voice was like, you're a fucking nut. But when you put that practice in, every day you lace them up, and I don't mean run. It's just a metaphor for life. When you lace them motherfuckers up every day, pretty soon you win. Pretty soon you'll fucking win. If you have the courage and the heart and the dedication and the mindset of everybody can go fuck themselves. I know what I know. I've listened to myself enough to know I know what I know. None of you can hear what I'm hearing. And that's what people don't do enough of. They don't listen to their journey. They listen to everybody else's shit. Before you know it, I'm crazy. But if I'm so fucking crazy, why am I so successful? How'd that happen? If I'm so misguided and fucked up and don't listen to him, why am I the only one to do a whole bunch of shit? Why am I a trailblazer? Why? How is that possible? How can you be fucked up and also self-made at the same fucking... No. Obviously, you're not looking at the truth in front of you. The truth in front of you is it sucks. It's painful. It's fucking mind-numbing. And that is the truth. And that's why a lot of people don't like listening to me. Because this is what it takes. Creating another voice and sometimes going at it alone. All the time going at it alone. Because no one's going to believe in you. And that's that.
What I'm about to say is not conjecture, and I can say that with confidence because I did a 4-episode guest series with a brilliant psychiatrist, a guy named Paul Conti. He's from Trenton. He's a Stanford, Harvard trained guy. He's also got a lot of street in him. He's had his own hardship, real hardship. He's brilliant. And he said something that I'll never forget, which is, we think that the forebrain, the part of our brain that creates strategy, et cetera, is the supercomputer. He said, no. It's like the supercomputer of the brain is the unconscious mind. It's the part of our mind that's controlling most everything. And most people, unfortunately, don't do the work to understand how their unconscious is controlling them. And that's a scary thing, this idea like your mind is controlling you, and I'm not going to get into the free will debate. I believe in at least some will. I believe what you're describing and this internal dialogue, I think you have access to your unconscious mind. By listening to the dialogue, going inward, we know this is true in sleep, in dreams, in meditation, and just by shutting out everything else, shutting out all the external noise, which is filled with things that pull us to it. Noise makes it sound bad, but it's the gravitational pull of all the things that just allow us to distract ourselves without knowing that, is the ice cream, the have a cookie, the Merry Christmas. Mm-hmm. The unconscious mind, this huge piece of the iceberg underneath that Paul calls the supercomputer. He's saying that with knowledge as a neurobiologist, psychiatrist, psychologist. He really knows. That's the piece that if one does real introspection, he calls it the cupboards. You got to look in the cupboards, and it's often really scary what you find in there. And most people are just like, I don't even want to know the cupboards are there. But you're pulling all the cupboard doors open. And then you're extremely deliberate with what gets put into action. You're not just going, I'm pissed, so I'm going to act pissed, or I'm tired, so I'm going to act tired. You're picking very carefully what to do. And that's a process that I'm guessing came to you. Does it come to you as it makes sense why running makes sense. It makes sense why smoke jumping makes sense. So it seems like a huge portion of your time is spent understanding yourself and making sense to you. And so when people don't understand you, it's got to be extra frustrating.
Yes.
Because most people don't understand themselves. So that we're all running around going like, you're this and you're that. Because most people are just unwilling to look inward. Right. And I'm including myself, by the way.
Right.
I mean, I've done a fair amount of introspection, but I'm inspired today, that word inspired, but it's true, motivated to start going inward further. Because it is scary. It's like we don't know what's in those cupboards, and it's terrifying.
Yes.
Especially because we don't know.
And those are the first ones to open up. And like he talked about, you got to go through those cupboards. I do spring clean every fucking day in those dark cupboards. Those dark cabinets, the ones I start with first. That's the real me, man. That's the real me. That's why I'm not ashamed. I don't hide. I used to hide. I don't hide anymore. He's exactly right. I don't know all the fucking science behind shit. I know what I know. That's why I don't listen to anybody anymore. I don't listen to shit. I think most people are full of shit. Because I know the deep, dark secrets of those fucking cupboards. It's ugly, man. And every day I'm talking to them. Every day I'm cleaning them. I'm cleaning them, and I'm talking to the same demons that came out of those fucking cupboards as I'm cleaning them. Sometimes I go right back in them again. It's not easy. And this is why most of us why I am misunderstood. Because what comes out of those cabinets that I'm cleaning, sometimes they see on Instagram. Sometimes they'll see it in the podcast. Sometimes they see in this one. I turn people off. Open up your own cabinets. And then go talk about it. Let me see how pretty it looks. Let me see how pretty you sound. Let me see how put together your words are. I bet you a fuck or a motherfucker comes out, because for you to go back in there again to clean the same fucking cabinet the demon came out of, takes some big balls, bro. To do it every day of your life. To go back in there and spring clean every day. Not once a fucking year. Once every decade. Every day you know it gets dusty. And every day you don't start with the victories. You don't go, oh, this is nice. Look at my I love me wall. Let me clean up this, a little dusty. No, I go right for the things that are going to keep me buried. And I go right there first, because if I don't clean those out first, the day doesn't start. So what he's saying to me is truth. And like I told you many times a day, I could never figure out how to explain this shit to people because I'm not neuro nothing. I'm just a guy that said, okay, we got to start in the dungeon and we got to stay here for the rest of our lives. For you to become successful, the dungeon is a place that has to be clean. And it's the scariest place to be. That's why I'm misunderstood, because I'm speaking from the dungeon. That's why I am successful, because I go there every damn day. And that is the truth, what he says. It's the exact truth. Those cabinets are fucking dusty, dirty, and scary as shit. Broken glass, fucking dark, spiders, cobwebs, but most of all, your biggest fears. The biggest things that put you in the fucked up place you are today are in there. That's why we all like to keep them shut, even like to lock them up, act like they never happened. That's why you never grow. You never improve. You never have real conversations like we're having right now. Never. Oh, no. Let's not go there. I talk to so many people who tell me that. Let's talk about this. Because they'll tell me, but they can only say it once. And they'll say it in passing. They won't get deep in the weeds with it. Like, you can't just clean it. Motherfucker, you got to spit shine that motherfucker. You got to relive it. Every fucking detail of it. You can't just be like, oh, yeah, my dad beat me. And, it is what it is. Hey, it is what it is, motherfucker. It's killing you. It's taking over your whole fucking life. But that's the conversation. Yeah, my dad. Yeah, but I'm fine now, though. I'm good. Okay. All right. No, you ain't. You ain't fine. You ain't fine. This is real talk. People don't have that. So your boy's right. 100% right. Scary as shit. It's scary as shit. But it makes you who you're supposed to be. And that's the test. We forget. We think we're supposed to breathe air and have kids and pay the bills and shit. Everybody, what's this life about? That makes no sense. You're being tested, my friend. Tests come when you have not studied. Tests come when you think that you're in a great place. That's the test. The test is every day of your life. And most of us fail because we don't know why we're here, because we don't go inward to say, oh, you gave me a lot of shit to fix, man. And this test sucks. But then you start.
David Goggins. I don't think I could add to that. I know I can't. Thank you for sharing what you shared today. I mean, as much as your process or anyone's process can't be completely understood from the outside, you gave us a real window into this thing, this process that was, as you said, God put it on you. Mm-hmm. I believe in God too. People can believe what they want, but somehow your life, God gave you these challenges early on, and then there was a point where you went internal. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you developed a skill, but it's a perishable skill. Yep. And you clearly live in the process of opening those cupboards, reopening those cupboards, trying to spit shine those cupboards, understanding that they're never, ever really done, but that you can gain ground on them, right. That you can win day after day after day. And you really shared a lot of concrete things that I know people are going to be able to apply if they choose. Right. And I agree with you. I think most people will be like, whoa, that was a lot. Yep. It's heavy. I think I want to just kind of bake myself in Netflix and Chex Mix instead. But there's also the reality that there are men and women, boys and girls who hear that and go, okay, and start cracking the cupboards open. Right. And I just know that, for myself, I'm extremely grateful that you're willing to put it all out there. You're so brutally honest, so brutally authentic. That word authenticity gets thrown around so much. And I can tell you that for me and for everybody else, like that's what resonates. So Whether or not you want to, whether or not it's the purpose behind it or not, you're lighting the path. So thank you.
Respect. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me for today's discussion with David Goggins. To learn more about David and to find links to his 2 fantastic books, Can't Hurt Me and Never Finished, please see the show note captions. If you're learning from and or enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's a terrific zero-cost way to support us. In addition, please subscribe to the podcast on both Spotify and Apple. And on both Spotify and Apple, you can leave us up to a 5-star review. Please also check out the sponsors mentioned at the beginning and throughout today's episode. That's the best way to support this podcast. If you have questions or comments about the Huberman Lab podcast, or if you have suggestions about guests or topics that you'd like me to cover, please put those in the comment section on YouTube. I do read all the comments. Not on today's episode, but on many previous episodes of the Huberman Lab podcast, we discuss supplements. While supplements aren't necessary for everybody, many people derive tremendous benefit from them for things like improving sleep, for hormone support, and for focus. If you'd like to learn more about the supplements discussed on the Huberman Lab podcast, please go to Live Momentous, spelled O-U-S. So that's livemomentous.com/Huberman. If you're not already following me on social media, I am Huberman Lab on all social media platforms. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Threads, X, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And on all those platforms, I discuss science and science-related tools, some of which overlaps with the content of the Huberman Lab podcast, but much of which is distinct from the content on the Huberman Lab podcast. So again, it's Huberman Lab on all social media platforms. If you haven't already subscribed to our Neural Network newsletter, I encourage you to do so. It is completely zero cost, and it provides podcast summaries and protocols in the form of brief PDFs of 1 to 3 pages. Things like deliberate cold exposure, a protocol for foundational fitness, a protocol for deliberate heat exposure, for managing dopamine, for optimizing your sleep, and so on and so on. Again, completely zero cost. You simply go to hubermanlab.com, go to the menu, scroll down to newsletter, and click on the newsletter tab, and you enter your email to sign up. But I should point out that we do not share your email with anybody. Thank you once again for joining me for today's discussion with the one and only David Goggins. And last but certainly not least, thank you for your interest in science. Journey into these different practices. I don't know what came first, the science or the practices, but I have my guesses. But I must say it's very refreshing, and I think it's exactly what the world needs right now in terms of tools for mental health and physical health, because far too many studies try and isolate variables without understanding a larger context of like, what are the different types of stressors? And clearly you're addressing that. Or, there's this thing, breath work, that some people might think, the Iceman, Wim Hof, it's really esoteric and, kind of crazy. I'm certainly not saying that, but you say, well, what are the critical elements from that we might be able to extract to understand this positive eustress phenomena? So I just, I want to first of all just say thank you for doing the incredibly important work you do.
And thank you. I mean, we were so delighted to see the paper you did with David Spiegel and to know that you're pursuing this path. And it's very reassuring with your rigor and your depth of background. I agree with you. These are the types of studies we need. Releasing the inherent power of rejuvenation that's in our body is it's relatively untapped in these rigorous controlled studies. And we just can't reduce inflammation with a drug. We can't reduce stress with a drug. We desperately need to learn how to use, the whole range of the nervous system, from the acute stress to the deep relaxation, to heal and to promote these healthy, resilient states.
I couldn't agree more. And UCSF is very, very fortunate to have you. And should they ever forget that, please come to Stanford instead. Maybe we can recruit you away from UCSF. And I'm being friendly to my colleagues at UCSF, but they better treat you right, or else we're coming for you. And I also just want to thank you for taking the time today to share this information. Also, you've written wonderful books. We will provide a link to the newest one, and I'll of course, cue people to that, because it sounds like a very rich source of information and actionable tools that people can take in terms of mitigating stress. And I love the idea that there's this discussion about certainty and control, two elements that are very prominent in my life, for better or for worse. And
all of us.
Yeah. And so really, thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for taking the time to share that work through books and through podcasts, and especially today on this one. I I know I speak on behalf of many, many people, and I just really want to extend my gratitude.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your podcast.
Well, it's a labor of love, and it's days like today and discussions like this that make it worthwhile. So thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you for joining me for today's discussion all about stress, aging, and metabolism with Dr. Elissa Epel. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. If you'd like to learn more about Dr. Epel's laboratory's work, or if you'd like to learn about her books, such as The Telomere Effect and The Stress Prescription, please see the links in the show note captions. If you're learning from and or enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's a terrific zero-cost way to support us. In addition, please subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple. And in addition, on both Spotify and Apple, you can leave us up to a 5-star review. If you have questions for me or topics you'd like me to cover on the Huberman Lab podcast or guests that you'd like me to consider inviting on the Huberman Lab podcast, please put that in the comments on YouTube. I do read all the comments. In addition, please check out the sponsors mentioned at the beginning and throughout today's episode. That's the best way to support this podcast. Not so much on today's episode, but on various previous episodes of the Huberman Lab podcast, we discuss supplements. While supplements aren't necessary for everybody, many people derive tremendous benefit from them for things like enhancing sleep, focus, and hormone support. The Huberman Lab podcast is proud to have partnered with Momentous Supplements. If you'd like to hear more about the supplements discussed on the Huberman Lab podcast, please go to livemomentous, spelled OUS.com/Huberman. Again, that's livemomentous.com/Huberman. If you're not already following the Huberman Lab podcast on social media, we are Huberman Lab on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And on all those places, I focus on material that somewhat overlaps with content from the Huberman Lab podcast, but often is distinct from the content covered on the Huberman Lab podcast. So again, it's Huberman Lab on all social media channels. For those of you that haven't already subscribed to our so-called Neural Network newsletter, this is a completely zero-cost monthly newsletter that has summaries of podcast episodes and so-called toolkits. Toolkits are lists of about a page to 2 pages long that give the critical tools, for instance, for optimizing sleep or for neuroplasticity or deliberate cold exposure or deliberate heat exposure, optimizing dopamine. Again, all available to you at zero cost. You simply go to hubermanlab.com, go to the menu tab in the corner, scroll down to newsletter. You provide us your email. We do not share your email with anybody. And in addition to that, there are samples of toolkits on the hubermanlab.com website, again, under newsletter, and you don't even have to sign up to access those. But I think most people do end up signing up for the newsletter because it's rich with useful information and, again, completely zero cost. Thank you again for joining me for today's discussion with Dr. Elissa Epel, all about stress, aging, and metabolism. And last, but certainly not least, thank you for your interest in science.